Hey, Kevin here from DIYDork.com. Today I want to show you a dresser that I just redid. It's kind of a makeover and a make under at the same time. So check this out. This is a really cool project. Alright, so check it out. Here is the dresser that I'm going to make over, or possibly make under, depending on how you look at it. It's kind of a 50-50 the way I'm going to do it. But I picked this up off of Craigslist. I went to meet a guy to go buy a dresser, and then while I was there, he's like, well, hey, I got this other one here for $15. So I went ahead and picked this up for only 15 bucks. Now, it does have some real age to it, but it's nothing super special, and it's just, it's okay shape. I could have just, sand it down and prime and paint it and sell it and just go for it. But I thought I'd do something a little fun. So as you can see on this side, it looks decent. The bottom of the feet are beat up. You can kind of see the corner there is a little messed up. There's a couple of chunks of veneer missing there. It had to be bonded over. And then there's a big chunk of veneer there that I'm going to have to kind of clean up over here and bond over that. And then the worst part is on the edge. You can see that it was laying on its side at some point, and apparently they drug it and just really gouged out the sides. So that gave me a really cool idea. It seems like all the damage is on this side, so I thought, why not damage it? And I mean, really what I'm going to do here is it will ruin the dresser. It will not be repairable after that, but it would be kind of a cool way to purposely ruin it into a design. So I think I'll play with the mistakes that it already has. So what I'm going to do is carve a design on about half of this dresser using a little rotary tool, like a Dremel tool. And I think it'd be kind of cool, and then paint the other half and be an interesting way to modernize this. So anyway, let me show you how I'm going to do it. Alright, so if you've watched my other videos, you know I like to keep things really simple. So to figure out the layout for my carved design, I went super simple. So I just stuck a thumbtack down here at the bottom, and then one up here at top, and then one here at the back, and then I just wrapped some string around there, and that gave me a nice little line to I could kind of adjust it till I liked how it looked. Now I originally was planning to come from this line and come like way down over here to cover this up, and then I would just carve right over that, but I just don't think I can make that look right. So I'm going to go ahead and bondo that over, and the chips down there, and then just paint this half over here. But for the carving, I did the string. And then what I'll do is I won't keep it on there when I'm actually carving. I'm just using it to kind of get a rough idea where I want to do a layout. And I'll just take a marker and draw a couple of tick marks on there, and then I'm going to use a stick to help me with the actual carving. Now what I've also decided to do is that I want my carved lines on the front to kind of come down like this. Now they'll be at slight different angles. They'll be kind of freeform, but they'll all angle this way. So I won't have any, going like that. Okay, so they'll all come this way. Then when they come up top, I want them to change direction. So then they're all going to flow kind of this way. Alright, now I haven't drawn it out yet, but up here, I'm going to have another line coming up, and then all these lines will go that way. Okay? And then here on the very edge, I'm going to play with what line's already there, so all these lines will kind of go this way. Okay, so it should look pretty cool. So let me kind of show you how the carving technique is going to work. Alright, so here's my little tool I'm using. It's a little rotary tool, and it has a carving bit on there. Now you can see it just has a flat edge on it and a couple of fins. They do make one that has a like a bald end, which would probably work just as well, or maybe even slightly better for this, but this just happens to be what I had, so it still works. So anyway, all you do is just turn it on and you carve. Now if you do it by hand, even if you try to be really straight, it's still a little wonky. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I mean, you can just see how it's wobbling around here. I'll zoom in just to kind of show you. I mean, it looks okay. If you want more of an organic look, I think that'd be the way to go. Okay, but if I just use like an old piece of 2x4 as a straight edge, it works a lot better. And this is what I'm going to use on the dresser, so check this out. Alright, and check that out. Look how much nicer and straighter those lines look when I use the straight edge compared to by hand. So this is the way I'm going to go. Now also, when you look at them up close, you can see that the carver bit kind of left a little bit of a frayed edge on one side. So I'm not entirely sure if that's because my bit's flat instead of the ball-shaped ones, or if that's just what it's going to do. But what I'm going to do to take care of that is just run a sanding block over it real quick after I've got it all carved, and it should be able to knock all of those little rough edges off and it'll look okay. But even if they're a little rough, that's fine, because the whole point of carving this on the dresser is to leave that old dark finish that's kind of beat up and scratched as is, and then to, you know, destroy it, but in a really cool clean pattern like this. So if it's a little rough, I think it'll be okay. Alright, so I like the layout I've got with the string, so what I'm going to do is just take a marker and just leave a couple of marks along where the string is. I'll do the same thing here on the front, just kind of eyeball it. One up here, and I could probably just do one down here, and then maybe one here at the bottom. And then those lines, those little marks, should be good enough to lay my board up against to do the layout mark. And then everything else over here will be all just kind of free form, just however I lay the board on there. But, oh, also, I need one up here, so probably I'll just kind of eyeball this one, but I think I want it to end maybe about here, so all those lines will kind of be like this, okay? So now I'll just get started on the carving. Also, you may notice there is kind of like a little lip in between all the drawers, so when I lay my board on there, it's going to lay against them, so I'll just have to go really slow and careful and just carefully carve the flat lower drawer front, and then make sure it kind of goes over these bumps, you know what I mean, so that I'm not hitting it and it accidentally come this way. So just take your time with it and it should be okay. So I'll pull the drawer handles off and then start with the carving. Alright, so once I start this, there's no going back, so here goes nothing. Alright, so I've learned pretty quickly that you definitely want to wear your safety glasses, and also if you lay the dresser on its back, then the board is a lot easier to control. So when it was standing up, I was like really holding on to this, and it was starting to wobble around on me and scoot. So if you lay it down, it's a lot easier to control. So let me run another line. I'll show you how much quicker I can do it this way. Also, you can probably tell I'm carving over the edges here because I want to make sure this whole thing's just totally covered in these carved lines. So, alright, here we go. Pretty awesome and very, very quick. Alright, so all the lines look really good, and I went ahead and sanded off all the little bird edges and all that. So now I'm going to go ahead and tape it off and get it ready so I can do some sanding, that little bit of body work, and some paint. So what I'm doing right now is I'm laying tape. I'm not going right on the line, I'm actually going just past it, so there's going to be a little bit of this dark color over here. I think that would work better. And then I don't care if it's perfectly even or not, because none of these lines are even. So anyway, I'll just tape it off, and then I'll start sanding and doing body work next. Alright, so I got all the Bondo spots sanded down smooth, and the finish just kind of roughed up so the paint's going to stick. I did kind of chew up some of the edges of the tape, so I went through, and wherever it was kind of messed up, I laid tape over it again just so I have a nice crisp edge. So now what I'm going to do is go through with some spray primer and cover up the little Bondo spots I have and some of these raw wood spots, just so that they won't bleed through my paint, because I've learned the hard way in the past that that will happen. So I'll cover them with the oil-based regular primer, and then just those spots. Once it dries, then I'll probably brush on some regular color blocking primer. It's water-based. I use on most of my projects. And then when that's done, then I'll put on some semi-gloss white paint. I'll probably just brush it as well. I think the brush strokes will actually kind of balance out all the carving on the edge, so I don't have to worry about being a perfectly smooth paint job. So it should be kind of cool, so I'll do that next. Alright, so my bright white paint job is now dry, so I reassembled the whole thing and here's what it looks like finished. Turned out really, really cool. Now I didn't show painting the knobs on this side, but I just spray painted them gloss white to blend in with this side. And then knobs over here I just left as is, so the old finish is a little bit beat up in spots to kind of blend in with the whole two-face look. So we got the bright white, clean, fresh makeover on this side, and then the, you know, kind of trashed out, carved make under on this side. I think it looks pretty cool. And I wasn't exactly sure what piece to try this on or exactly how to do this idea, but it's, you know, the whole carved line thing is something I've been thinking about for a while. And I felt okay doing it on this dresser. I got it for 15 bucks. It was kind of beat up. The guy was basically throwing it out. I probably could have got it for free if I would have told him I didn't want to buy it, but hey, I gave him 15 bucks and I think it's worth it. But like, you can kind of see the drawers don't fit that great. When you pull them, some of them kind of stick. So it's not a nice piece of furniture. So I didn't feel bad doing it to it, but I would not do it on a nice piece. But anyway, it just looks really, really cool. I like how the lines look. I mean, it did get a little bit chippy where I peeled the paint. I mean the tape when I was done with the paint. So I may add a coat of lacquer on the side. The problem is that I'm going to lose the contrast between the carved lines and the old finish. It's all going to kind of deepen up. So I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I kind of like how it is. And just kind of a raw, trashed out look. I mean, that's kind of the point. So I might just leave it alone. But anyway, there's a pretty cool idea of how to transform a piece with a simple carving technique. I mean, I was trying to figure out how I was going to do it. I was thinking of like a metal grinder or even a skill saw set really low and just run it. But I ended up using that rotary tool with a stick and just kept it bare bones simple, and it turned out pretty awesome. So there you go. Pretty cool little makeover slash make under.